Now shut up. The show's starting. Hi, everybody. It's me, Esther Goldberg, and oh my God, we've got an exciting show tonight. And the rhythm of the music getting the show started has put you in the mood for my rock and roll love psychic. I am so excited to have this beautiful woman on my show today. I mean, not only is she a celebrity psychic, medium, astrologer, but she's also a good friend of mine. And I couldn't believe it. She said, sure, Esther, I'll come on your show. Like, you know, she has the time of day and her busy schedule to come on. So I'm telling you right now, everybody that's out there, I want you to put your hands together and I want you to welcome the woman herself, the astrologer, the psychic to the stars, my friend, SLOAN BELLA.
You crack me up, Esther.
How are you, love?
I have missed you. It's been, 4 years since I came and stayed with you, right?
And brought me a giant, big-ass piece of selenite.
I carried that thing from LA to Vegas.
And you brought me coffee so I would be able to wake up.
That's right. I just woke up. No, same thing. You're like she has time. I'm like, Esther, I was going to sleep, but I wanted to come on your show. So there's no sleeping right now.
What can I say? Oh my God, you have so many of your friends here. Oh my
hi, friends.
God, they're all, I can't keep up with them all. 74. Oh my, SLOAN, this is the biggest show I've ever had.
I know, it's so good you're doing this. You should be seen.
Well, everybody out there and SLOAN's friends and my friends out there, I have to let you know, about 2.5 months ago, she and I were talking. We were chatting back and forth, and she said, you know, you need to get on YouTube. And I said, well, I haven't been on since the lawsuit, and I couldn't do Esther for two years, but we're not going to go into that because that's about me and it's not about her. But she said, get the hell on YouTube.
Yeah.
And so I decided to bring my show back and start building up my show again. And it was all because of you.
Oh my gosh. And you who knows how to do it, you should tell them though, you should just say how evil Hollywood is for stealing Esther, number one, stealing your identity, and you should tell them about your Paul Lynde show.
Oh yeah, well, we'll get into that.
Yeah, you should.
I will, but it's about you. You're my guest.
I know, but I wanted them to know who you are because some of them don't.
Oh, okay. Well, just to let you know, SLOAN and I, okay, we're going to start with the clip. SLOAN and I met when I did a pilot for a TV series called Politics is a Drag. And this casting lady had a muscat, was in charge of booking the guest. So so what happened was she goes, I've got this amazing psychic. She's super hot, sexy. She's like the rock and roll love psychic. I go, really? And they go, yeah, she'll come on. And I said, great, book her. So it was the pilot that, of course, never sold, but a lot of people have seen it because it's on my channel, but you can watch it. But SLOAN came in and they had booked this evil motherfucker, this nasty right-wing lunatic named Matt. And he wasn't ready for you. He was not ready for you. You know what? And guess what? Hold on, everybody. You all want to see a clip? You all want to see a clip? I like your jacket, Esther. Thank you. I stole it from Nordstrom's. Anyway,
you have a closet full. You have more clothes than I do.
It looks like Tinkerbell pissed in my closet. There's so much rhinestones. But anyway, I got to show you this clip. I found this clip, and it's SLOAN. Okay, now on the show were two other famous drag queens, Coco Peru and Lady Bunny, and then this right-wing lunatic. Here it is. Hold on.
But my God, he is. I heard his rant. He is 100% incorrect. It will be Chris Christie. It's not a hard right-wing person. It's Chris Christie, a guy that sort of pissed me off, and a lot of us conservatives, with his smoothing up to Obama. However, he's probably the right guy, and he's probably a smart politician. And P.S., he's not about big government. He is the man. Chris Wallace, wrongola again.
So you don't like it when Chris Matthews is basically endorsing who should be the Republican candidate?
I did not say that. It doesn't matter to me.
Right.
It matters not. I love everyone having an opinion. It's a beautiful thing, and that's one of the reasons I love the United States of America.
What about Rubio?
Yeah, what about him?
What about him?
I gave you my shot. I gave you my guy.
I'm telling you psychically, Rubio.
Yeah, okay.
have to say, my gut instinct is what you're saying, Chris Christie. I really, and I think it's because with Sandy and whatnot, everything happened, people like the way he handled that.
Woman here.
And I'm not saying I would vote for him, but I just feel like people want to relate to someone, and I feel like he's very relatable. Whereas I feel Rand Paul is a bit off the wall, and people.
He's an ophthalmologist, for Christ's sake.
And I don't agree with his vision for this country.
I do.
Well, Christie is relatable because America is increasingly obese, and we need an obese president to represent us.
Anyway, is that hysterical?
You know what's so funny?
What's that?
I missed my hairdresser from that show. My hair was spectacular.
Oh, that was Vittorio. Vittorio did that, I think.
Oh my
He was
God!
the guy backstage.
Yeah, totally. I missed that. What the hell?
He's here in Vegas.
Oh my God!
He actually moved. Vittorio Esparza.
Okay,
And he does makeup and hair. Yeah, come. Well, he comes back to LA every once a month or once every 2 months. You should set it up and have
Oh my God! I was looking at my hair going, first I got to grow it and then, whatever, right?
Okay. So anyway, just to let everybody know, I've been around since the beginning of time. I've had shows here in Vegas. I've been in show business ever since I could breathe. And but having someone as beautiful as you as a friend, and you graciously came on for no pay to do our pilot, and
it was fun.
But we ended up being friends ever since, and it's been such a blast. But let me ask you. I was reading. Number one, let's get this out of the way. You are outspoken. You speak your mind. You don't give a shit what people say, and I love that. Our mutual friend Billy Butler. Billy.
Yes,
I don't know if did you see what he wrote yesterday about you when he found out you were going to be on the show?
No,
he says, I love this woman because she speaks her mind and doesn't care what people think, and that's a rarity in Los Angeles.
Oh my God, I love him. Do you know how I met him? I should tell you briefly. Do you know how I met him?
Tell me.
Well, his best friend, John Vulich.
Right, who passed away.
Yeah, who passed away was Keith's girlfriend's stepdad. So that's how I was introduced, because I was introduced because he raised Paigey, Keith's girlfriend at the time. They were together. So he basically hung out with Keith for a long, long time. And I think he was about 54 when he passed, and the funeral was at Billy's, not the funeral, the wake, whatever. That's how I met him. But Keithy was aware of him all the time. So yeah. So
you're officially, let's talk about you and not how you got into this, how you were born into being a psychic medium, astrologer, and what have you. But you started off, you're Canadian, right?
I am, yes.
From Canada. Yes. And you started your career on the streets of Toronto?
Yes, I'm that girl. I really did, because as I tell people the story, I ran away from home at 14. Okay. So when I say ran away, I just walked out the door and left. So what's a 14-year-old going to do? Probably there's two things we're going to do. And I picked stripping. Okay. So I was not letting anybody touch me. So I picked that. But in the interim, the place I worked at, which was a place in Toronto called the Fillmore's, and I think it was Fillmore's East, not West, but I could be mistaken. Anyway, when I worked there, the bar had hotel rooms upstairs, as Toronto is. Okay. So Toronto is very much like that. So the girls that worked with the gentlemen, the prostitute girls, would always come to me and ask me if they were going to be safe for the evening. So I actually got the clients. I got the gamblers. I got the street kids. I got anybody who was working in that capacity. They would just come, give me a pack of cigarettes. Don't ever tell anyone I smoked, but I did back then. I know, right? And they would give me, and then money for hair, money for whatever. And that's actually how I survived. I didn't even really charge. They just kind of brought gifts.
Right.
Or whatever, cigarettes, food, whatever, soda. Yeah.
But that's also what got you in, and you still are a major mover and shaker about involving child exploitation. I know it's a passion of yours, and you
obsession. Yes.
Obsession. And every time I see something about child exploitation or a sex predator, somebody getting jailed, I always email you.
You do. You send it to me. I have a lot of it. That came from when I first came to Los Angeles, and I worked with a couple of shelters that dealt with kids that were 18 and under. So I became very aware, and a lot of them were psychic, and a lot of them used their psychic ability as a way to determine if they were going to you have to have your wits about you, as you know. Okay. Like you
right.
have to have your wits about you with people that prey on kids. So I found a lot of them were very psychic, and a lot of them went into different versions of different dream states when they were going out. So when I communicated with them, I began to understand that I called it a psychic life. So kids that come from a more traumatic background have a more of an instinct towards it. And so I kind of worked in that capacity for all through, like my kids can tell you, I had everybody and their cousin sleeping on our couch and coming into the house for readings and, picking them up from jail and picking them up out of rehab, taking them to rehabs. And I mean, that was the whole thing. So I just kind of did it independently. Yeah.
Now explain to me, okay, I don't know. We're going to learn a lot about Sloan. Those of you that are her fans that are on here today, I got questions and she's going to answer them.
Oh my God, Esther.
No. But these are fascinating things I did not know about you until I started doing my research, because I just know you as a friend. But the Jimi Hendrix connection.
Yes.
Jimi Hendrix guided and aided you from the other side on the streets of Toronto.
Totally. Okay, like literally. And this is a weird thing to say, but it opened me up. I was a fan of the Bay City Rollers and Queen. I always tell that story. Right? Do you remember the Bay City Rollers? Come on now.
Another story.
Yes.
When you're finished, I have to tell you, we have a connection.
Do tell. But then after, so we don't get kicked off. Anyway, but I was huge fans. But anyway, actually it was before I ran away from home, he started coming to me. I was probably around 12. So it might've been just after he died. I mean, because I think he died in 78 or 79. So it was right around that time. And I left home in the early 80s. So whenever the hell I was 14, I think it was in 81 or 82. I can't remember. Anyhow, he would come to me and he would write music. I would see him like a movie screen above me. Okay. So I would see it and he would write music, compose, sing and play. And I had no idea who this man was. None whatsoever. Not joking you. None at all. He would put impressions in my head when I would go off with certain people, because I was always, running around like crazy. And he would sort of encourage me to do something and encourage me not. And this is actually true. I was offered, it sounds really bad, but I was offered heroin on one of the clubs I was working at. I was very young, very, very young. Of course. And so somebody offered it to me, and it was actually him who said, don't, because I would have, but I just didn't, because the impressions in my head were like, don't. So I thought, okay, just this once I'm going to listen. And then my mind was distracted in a different way. So I didn't. And that's kind of where I went from that. So I looked at him as like I would say, I don't know, I thought he was a guide or something. I had no idea. Just said his name was Jimmy. Didn't know who it was until I was 16, went into this bar on Yonge Street in Toronto, and there was a Jimi Hendrix revival band, and I saw the poster and I went, that's him. And my friends were like, who? And I'm like, my guide, you don't understand, it's him. And they're like, Jimi Hendrix. And I'm like, yes, that's who. But yeah.
So that's how you sort of also got the nickname, like the rock and roll psychic?
Yeah, because he came to, they were, people were making fun of me actually, because they thought I was seriously deranged, but it actually was true. And I'm not the only one that saw him. As he crossed out of this world, he was trying to, Jim Morrison, a lot of people see as well. But Jimi Hendrix, when he crossed out, something about him wanted to be heard, and he wanted to continue to compose music, from what I could tell, because that's what he was doing. I mean, at the time I was writing down notes, and I'm not musical at all, and I don't claim to be. Nothing, like literally. And it was the one and only time in my life where I had an ability that wasn't my ability personally, like at all. So it was interesting, because I'm not musical in any sense. I mean, I like music, but I'm not musical. So it was very interesting. Yeah, that was a very interesting experience.
The Bay City Rollers. Okay, our connection. This is really crazy. When I first moved to Los Angeles, way back in 79,
okay,
I was friends with a director named Jonathan Lucas and his husband, boyfriend at the time, Mark, and they had invited me up. They said, Michael, you have to come up. And because Jonathan was choreographing the Bay City Rollers Saturday morning show.
Shut up.
Okay. No. So you got to come up and meet the Rollers.
I not know this.
Okay, so what happened was I was going up, and I met the Rollers at the studio. Then we were in a car, and the girls were following us. And then when we get up to the house, they lived up in the Hollywood Hills. Jonathan and Mark had this beautiful home at the top of Franklin. And as we get out, oh, by the way, he said, oh, and we have a psychic friend of ours who's visiting. They brought this woman with them from Chicago. She got rid of some ghost in a castle in Scotland. I'm like,
oh my God, lucky psychic.
And here I am going, okay. All right. So we walk in after dodging these girls, through Hollywood. They were trying to hunt down the Bay City Rollers. And we walk in and they're like, oh God, that is crazy. Oh, it's so much. It's just normal for us. And so as I walked in, I go, well, I hope to God it never happens to me. And there was this little woman at the stove. She was stirring. And she turned around and she looked at me. She goes, honey, one day you're going to have it just as bad. I go, excuse me. She goes, hi, I'm Bet Peters. And this was the woman that they brought with them on tour who was a psychic. And this woman ended up at that day, from the day she died in 2004, like a mother I never had.
Oh, see?
But this is what's really cool. We're sitting at dinner that night. At night, sitting at this table, all the Bay City Rollers, a psychic, two queens and me. Right. And I'm sitting at the other end of the table and I hear this voice in my head go, hey, I'm talking to you. And I'm sitting there, what the fuck? And she goes, look this way. And I'm like, am I losing my freaking mind? And she goes, over here. And I look and she's staring right at me. She goes, I'm talking to you. I had never had that experience before.
Who was it?
It was Bet. She was talking to me with her mind at the other end of the table.
Okay.
Yes.
I got you. That's how they talk.
I know. It freaked me out. I'd never had anybody like sitting in front of me at the other end of the table talking to me. But anyway, needless to say, she was a psychic medium. And that was one of my first experiences with the Bay City Rollers. Isn't that trippy?
Oh my God, I want the picture and I'm coming to your house. You sign it, you do the and give it to me.
I will. Now, okay. So, one of the things is like, I found this clip, and this is what I find you see stories about psychic mediums and astrologers and what have you. And you work with the police department and detectives. And I found this. Okay, get ready. Oh
God, what are you bringing up?
There we go.
I can feel it. It's getting stronger. Police are some of my best clients. They come in for readings. They come in to know stuff.
The first case was positioned as a suicide. So we're trying to find out if she actually committed suicide, this woman, or if it was a homicide.
They know about psychic information because they see it at murder crimes themselves. They hear stuff. They get intuitive stuff. That is what we work with. I'm hearing that she did not commit suicide, actually. Okay. That's not true.
Once we talked with Sloan and we went over the case with her, she confirmed what we believed to be a homicide.
I do feel like there was a business deal that went bad. So it was a business deal connected to her. I get just the people's name and a picture if they have it, and then I get the information. The woman he did it for is actually with him now.
Yes.
Okay, that's who he did it for. Does she look like that, kind of brown?
She's a brown-haired woman he's involved with now.
Okay, did they find pieces of rug on her face? Because I feel like there was something like a bearskin rug, but I'm not sure it's a white colored rug, but something like a fluffy rug that was put over her face. She was also slapped. And I feel like it took about 22 minutes for her to die. There's some chunk of time.
It's funny you said you bring up 22 minutes.
I'm getting 22 minutes.
Because 22 minutes is what he can't account for.
That's when he killed her. That's when he went and did it.
That's interesting that you said that. I'm always amazed by what Sloan comes up with. She's very right on when it comes to a case and an investigation. I don't know where she comes up with this stuff out of left field, but it's there.
Isn't that cool?
That's
hold on. Hold on.
I read 24/7. There isn't a day that I don't read.
Okay. I'm still learning. I had too many, I'm my own producer, so I'm hitting 3,000 buttons at the same time.
I know, that's funny. Oh my God. Yeah, that one, I'll tell you something about that. Dakota, that was his name. Dakota and I went out on another case that was in Santa Ana, California during that time. And I'm trying to think when that was. It might've been 2005. I want to say it was that far back. Anyway, we went to these people's houses and the grandparents had been murdered. So it was the older people that got murdered. Like maybe they were in their late 60s. Anyway, the grandkids, wanted to know who did it. And I kid you not, it was my first death penalty murder case without me realizing it at the time, because I went in and we're just doing it like just to do it, right? Just like there's no expectation of it. They asked us, so we're just doing it, right? Anyway, I picked up on that particular story. It was right after that when I picked up on that story that the guy who killed the family would come back into the United States to see a little 5-year-old girl. And at first I didn't know what I was talking about. Then I realized that he committed the murders when his girlfriend was pregnant. And by the time the baby was 5, he would come back thinking the coast was clear to see the 5-year-old. And that's how they arrested him. And then the kids called me, and it was a death penalty case. And it was Santa Ana. It was in California.
Wow.
At that time. I know it was weird. It was weird because when I was saying it, I was wondering, like, what am I saying when I'm saying that? I didn't understand it. So it was kind of interesting. Anyway, yeah, we worked on stuff together, and it was really, it's an interesting thing. You don't always get it right, of course, as you know, these things.
Of course. Well, I got this off your site. So if you're Sloan's, if you're Sloan's fans and you're on her site, go through her videos and you will see.
I gotta update them.
Well, you don't have to update them. They're just there. That was like in 2009, I think. People are
That
going.
one went up. Yeah, I can't remember, but the case we did, I might have reposted it then, but I want to go. It might have been 2009, but
Well, that's what the date is when you uploaded it.
Oh,
Because
yeah, that's probably.
because I was on it this morning. I mean, I could have put up a whole show and we could have sat here and watched it.
Yeah,
but I was like, yeah, people are. Oh, everybody's going. Oh my gosh, they are loving the clips. Good.
Oh, good. Yeah,
But
good.
you
You
did
little
good.
stalker,
Yeah.
Esther Stalker.
I know. No, so are you still working with the police departments at all?
Not really. I work with whoever calls me, honestly. Some people do call about murder cases.
Mhm.
Some people don't, whatever. So it's more on a private individual basis because, you can't contain me because I'm always out running. So priorities,
Right.
priorities. My old ass is sagging. So yeah, priorities.
You're like my own private Peloton monitor. I flip you on in the gym and there's Sloan looking at snakes, bears, cougars, and shit like that as she's jogging through the mountains.
Exactly. So
Oh,
my priority is that. Yeah, my priority is that. But whoever calls, whatever their issue is, I do. So I will help with cases, with things if people call and ask, of course.
Oh,
Yeah.
So, I just had a total brain fart. Because I was reading what's happening is I'm listening to you, and at the same time I'm watching these.
It's hard, huh? Yeah.
How do you do it? I don't know how you do it, but I know what my question was. So, I mean, what is the most, if you can find one, what is the most bizarre reading or case that you ever had to deal with? What is
God, I have to think of that. That's
I
a good
know.
question.
I was just this one with the murders and stuff. My friend, the lady that passed away, Bette Peters, the psychic with the Bay City Rollers, she worked with the Chicago Police Department.
Oh,
And
I got to look her up. I think
she
you mentioned
passed-
her name.
I did. I mentioned her to you ago, but she worked with the Chicago Police Department all the time, solving murders. They brought her in.
Oh,
And-
of course. She probably had a real open, tremendous gift. Yeah, that's a tremendous ability. It's very hard because there's
Mhm.
pressure
Well,
when you're dealing. Sorry, somebody was badly beeping over here. There's a huge pressure when you deal with a family of somebody who's been murdered or missing or whatever.
Mhm.
It's very, 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 very difficult because you feel responsible a little bit. I feel.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay, so let me ask this question. Have you ever had anybody that wanted you to read them or do a reading or astrology that you just felt so much negativity that you couldn't?
Oh my God. I have told this story. Yes. Well, I did the reading,
Uh-huh.
but I hated the person and I just I called the police on them after the reading because of what I picked up. They actually came in. It was a man that came into my house. This is years ago.
Right.
When I was having people in my house. Okay. So up until 2017. Okay. So it was before that. It was probably 2010. Anyway, this guy came in for a reading and, whatever. He sat down. He was talking about his lover. Okay. Like his lover. He wanted to know if they were going to get back together. And as I was reading, I literally was picking up that this man's lover was age 12. But I'm sitting there and I'm thinking to myself, maybe his son misses him. I didn't know what I was picking up.
Right.
So he started to say he was dating the neighbor's son. Okay. And he wasn't telling me an age, but I literally was getting it. And there were certain things he was saying that I knew the kid. So I was like, holy shit. Anyway, so I read the information. I just did the reading, right? Like what he asked. And then I tried to switch the subject. And as he was leaving, I went upstairs to my bedroom. His car was parked in the driveway. Okay. Unless my kids were home or whatever. they would use the guest parking, but most days they parked right outside my window because I go upstairs. I took his license plate and I reported him. That's what I did. Honest to God, I was like, but I was in the middle of the reading before I figured it out. You know what I'm saying? So, and then I had another client one time, and both my best friend and I read for this particular client, and she literally committed murders. Like one time a dead guy came to me and said she killed him. And that happened for my best friend too. And so we were like, yeah, she's kind of a person, you know? So and I'm like, yeah, I'm cutting the read. She's like, why won't you read me anymore? I'm like, yeah, I'm busy. I quit. The hairdresser.
I've got a laundry appointment. I've got to go to Kelly. Thanks.
Washing the hair, whatever. The car needs a bath, the dog. But those are two that were really, really quite bizarre. And there are other ones, thinking back on it, that I read for people. There was one party I was at. It was a party. So sometimes, you know, people hire psychics for parties, and you
of course
like 5 hours. Anyway, I was at a party for this woman, and she would fly in all of her people from a different country. I'm not going to mention the country because if she's watching, she'll know it's her.
Right.
Like, she would fly all these people in. And while I was reading the people, it was very interesting to find out what kind, there was a very evil vibe with these people.
Right.
So as I moved through the entire party and people came to me and I was reading them and all of those things, I noticed that there were more people that participated in the dark arts than in maybe any kind of religion that we're used to. Like, these people had that mindset. And I'm not kidding you. I got off the work, and just to give you an idea of this crazy party, like, it was just really crazy. There were hundreds of people, and there were people scantily dressed that were the servers. You might have thought this was interesting. All of the men servers were in little bikini briefs, super cute men, and they were getting groped everywhere. I was like, geez, stop grabbing the waiter.
I'll have mine on the rocks. Thank you.
Yeah, exactly. So there were really handsome men. And I mean, it was very, I don't know what to say. Everybody was very, I mean, I was dressed normal, like my normal self, and the party goers were, but the famous people that showed up at this party, and there were many, many, and and it was so strange because the energy was so dark and negative that when I walked into the entertainment room, when I was done to watch the band that they'd flown in from another country, they were all almost like red-eyed and dark. The room was dark, and I was like, it's like coyotes staring at a rabbit in the woods. And I was like, shit, I got to get out of here. And so that was very uncomfortable. And I did not work for them again after that. And it was very good money, but absolutely not.
That's freaky. It
was very freaky. And yeah. And if I'll tell you after who the guests were, but if I told you, you'd be like, what?
Okay. Somebody just said you saw me rumbling. Somebody said, what is a picture? A bet. And you said, I want to see a picture of Bet. And really weird because she passed away in 2004 and she had nobody. And so I flew to Chicago and took care of burying her and putting her in the mausoleum with her daughter who had died a few years earlier. But this is Bet.
Oh, she's darling. Look at her skin. She's cute, huh? Midwestern cute.
Everybody thought we were that, you know, without this outfit on. Everybody thought she was like I was her son.
Yeah. But have you showed them a picture of you without Esther?
That's scary. I don't have one right here at the moment. I have I don't have one here at the moment.
One up. I think I might have one on my Instagram. Remember when you and I have, you're a cutie pie.
I look so much different out of this outfit, but this is my I love Stella. Somebody wrote Stella.
Because I do the thing, you know it. Stella.
They're all with it. That was okay. This is a question I've been wanting to ask you for like the past year and a half, 2 years, because I know you talk about the different celebrities. Okay, people, we're getting onto some controversial crap here.
Yeah.
And you talked about some of these people getting fame and fortune and what they've sold their souls to something or what have you. And all of a sudden I kept thinking to myself, have I been doing this all wrong? Why the hell haven't I hit it big? Do I need to sell my fucking soul?
Yeah.
But question because, some of
You
the
have been doing it wrong, actually. You've got talent. You've got talent, but you don't let them control you.
and that's why I've always had this crazy shit going on. But
you don't let them. Yeah.
but yeah, it was a question that I wanted to ask. It's like, why is it? I've always been this close. I've always been this close, and and I've done pretty good. I mean, I made my dreams come true. I came to Vegas, headlined 2 shows as 2 different people.
Yeah, schizophrenic wise, right?
But at the same time, it was this thing questioning me, going, will it ever change for us that don't sell our souls? And I know not everybody. Are you talking about, okay, this is the question. Are you talking about super mega stardom? The Tom Hanks, the Leonardo DiCaprios, the Steven Spielbergs. Are you talking that type of fame? Or the smaller people that we know, friends of ours that do little sitcoms and stuff like that. And
okay, let me tell you. But first,
okay,
can you guys see this? Look, that's in your building. There.
Oh my gosh, that's you and I.
There's Esther in his street clothes.
We were rocking it that morning.
There you go. There we are. Me and Esther hitting
that is one of my favorite pictures.
Isn't it? That's a good one. Okay, so you asked your question. Let me explain this to you. Let's look at it in terms of, okay, for example, let's say you're working, I'm just going to use a mafia family. So some mafia family back east.
Corleones.
Yeah, those people. So you're working for them and you're some kid that's growing up with an alcoholic father that wears a wife beater shirt. There's no money because he's gambling, and you want money because you come from poverty, right? Let's just say that.
Okay, so, I just want to let you know, I have.
What? You what?
I'm going to tell you something that I've never shared with anybody. I have goosebump on goosebump. Keep going.
Okay, so let's say you're poor from that because your stupid wife beater father is wearing, is gambling his money and drinking and whatever and hookers and all that shit. So what happens is you as a teenager, some nice guy comes to you higher up in the mafia family and says, you're a smart kid, you look good, you dress well. I'm going to give you $2,000 to deliver this around town, whatever. Let's say it's just prescriptions or something. Right. Or paperwork or whatever. You deliver this and then you go back to the same places in a week and collect what they have in a bag and just bring it back to me. So you do this. And as you get higher and higher up and they can utilize your skill and your desire for material things increases, like fame, wealth, whatever, as those things increase and you go, yeah, okay, then they introduce you if they think you're controllable. Once you're introduced, you can still be a low-level mafia person, not a John Gotti person, but a lower-level person, and you can still be sold out because they need energy in every single ladder of society, if you want to put it. So to answer your question, some hugely famous people are not sold out, okay? But they may take vacations and they may, back up. Some kind of half-assed people have sold out, but they got tricked and they're not. And keep in mind, you can't sell something you don't own. So it's trickery from the concept. But I would word it more as like a cultish club that overtook Hollywood. And you kind of know, and I'm not going to mention the name of the company, but the studio you were working with, okay?
Right.
They that's where if you would have gone down that road, you would have seen it more and more.
And that studio went out of business.
Didn't it? Exactly.
Almost they lost to like $1 billion, like $750 million, almost $1 billion.
Oh, they stole money left, right, and center. Right. But they also had very high-end people that came out of that particular, because I worked with them after you did. Remember the Oculus? I don't know if I did. I did the movie tour with them, same studio, and yeah, a lot of the people from there and a lot of the management from there went on to other places and managed people that are sold out. When I say that, they are in agreement with something that is like, I'll do this if you do that. That's more what it is. And yeah, it's more that. And they know tricks of the metaphysical. So,
is it? Go ahead. No, is it sometimes subliminal and they don't even realize it?
Oh, it can be subliminal, but it could be on the astral level. Absolutely. Absolutely. Like somebody like Britney Spears has been split as a child due to abuse, period, end of conversation. Whether anybody's going to say it or not, I'm going to say it. That's what's happened to her. The splitting of that is the problem.
And today, believe it or not, with Britney Spears, today she's speaking to the court for the first time. Today she's speaking to get her fortune back from her father.
Good. She's the worst. How old is the girl? 40?
38, 39.
Okay.
Like
Yeah, that's her father who made a business deal on her back, like a pimp. Think of it that way. And then they perform. Now, keep in mind, if you go back to people like Angelina Jolie and things like this, they're born into families that are occultist. I'm going to word it that way. They're occultist families. Their religion is different than what you and I think. That's, they believe theirs, we believe ours, whatever ours is. Okay. So whether it's spiritual or it's Buddhist or it's Judaism or it's Catholicism or Christian, whatever, they think differently and they follow it. Now, Nicole Kidman's father, which I bring up because it's documented, okay? Right. Nicole Kidman was raised in a Luciferian family. They believe that they can access power, wealth, and godlike status on earth, okay, like with money and material things, by using the body as a vessel to pop through the chakras and access information outside of what we call tangible. So it's more along those lines.
Okay. Now, I'm going to share something I've never shared with anyone.
Oh my God, share.
And it's because of what you talked about with the mob and the mafia.
Yes.
When I was a young kid, 15 years old, 16 years old, people that know my story know that I got discovered by accident. And I was, all of a sudden was very poor because I had no family. It was just me and my grandma before she died, but we had no money. Right. And, but all of a sudden in Virginia Beach, Virginia, I became this big star because I was this kid who was a junior. I was a junior in high school, and I'm opening for Mel Tillis and Jerry Reed and all these stars, Rosemary Clooney.
Yes.
And people were flipped out. However, in comes, okay, here's where this is something I've never shared with anybody. And it was in the newspaper, and this was in the newspaper because the newspaper made a snide little remark about it. But there was this lovely Italian family that did lots of construction, and the main owner, I can't say their name because they might be listening.
Because you might go missing in the.
But they took me under their wings, and they were financing all this stuff, even when I came to LA. But when I came to Los Angeles in 1979, I broke away from them. They still had me followed. They had me followed. They
wanted your energy, Esther.
They wanted my energy, and I didn't give it to them.
Good for you.
They found out I was gay. They knew all this stuff. And it wasn't until the late 80s when I went back, and I think it was like 1989, 88 is when I went back to Virginia Beach, Virginia, and I finally saw, they're the man, the one. I went to this house, and he goes, and he brings out this booklet, and it was everything about my life. The drugs I did, the people I hung out with, the people I screwed with, my sex life, everything. They had followed me.
Oh my God, that's how it starts to blackmail you. Yes.
And I said, so that's my life, and I'm not changing. He died, and after that is when I've gone through hell ever since. I mean, I've never stopped. You never give up in show business.
Yeah.
But when you brought up the Italian family
and the newspaper, because I didn't know that about you.
Well, there's a newspaper clipping. If I knew I was going to talk about this, I would have put it up. But the newspaper actually said the Virginia Beach newspaper did this whole story. I mean, how my career was soaring. And then they wrote in the final paragraph, with the such and such Italian family behind Michael, nothing is in this way.
Oh my God, bitches.
And but they were basically saying that this I was with the mob. The mob was funding my career.
Yeah,
and
well, but see, they saw potential in you because you wanted something. The secret on this earth is to not want something, is to not want it. You know what I mean? Like if someone wants to be a basketball player or a model or a comedian or whatever, in wherever, if you want it and attach to it, they can feel it. They read our thoughts. Now understand something. You're extremely talented. You do everything. You do the creation. That's why do you see how that happened? They stole your freaking persona. They stole you, which they couldn't steal. Do you remember? You had to go through well, you know this.
Right.
But they stole you And the reason they stole it is because they know the energy attached to your creative mind. So they tried blackmail with you. The next thing, and let me tell you a producer story recently, just to say this, I have a acquaintance who's a B-level producer. We'll just say that. Not hugely famous movies, but they get on TV and stuff and in the movies. Right. Anyway, he took a young actor client of his, meaning was working on one of his films, into a party. And at this party, this kid who was 30, 28, 30, whatever, disappeared. So my acquaintance was looking for him because he's like, where the hell did you go? Like, we're leaving. Where are you? He found this kid in the bedroom with 2 agents from very high agencies, one with a camera, and the kid was completely unconscious. My acquaintance had to carry him out of that, stop it. What they were going to do is put him in a compromising position, blackmail him, and then they would own his career. Do you see? And they would, but you were not ashamed of who you were. That's what you had, and you're not. So they couldn't get to you, but they were trying to. They were grooming you to take you to that next step. So you're right there. That's what was happening.
I mean, another crazy story, right in the same verge. It's like way back. I was, I did like All in the Family, the Jeffersons and whatever, but I got called in. They were, it was remember Three's Company?
Yeah, of course.
Well, they were casting the part of John Ritter's little brother.
Okay.
And I went in to read, and there were 2 of us that were down to the limit of who was going to get it. And with a casting director who's dead and who's dead now.
He's dead now.
He's dead now. But here's what happened. The casting director invited both me and the other guy to dinner at his home. And not at the same time, differently, but I guess I was first. Anyway, he basically said, if you sleep with me, you'll get the part. If you don't sleep with me, you won't get the part. And I looked at him and said, well, I'm not going to sleep with you.
And oh my God.
I didn't get the part. But what happened was the other kid did.
Shut up. Who was that other kid?
Nothing ever happened because the character was supposed to be a recurring role and it was only on for 1 episode. So it was like, good call. But I have never, in my wacky career and the people that I've dealt with in my life, I've never, ever done that. I've never compromised myself for a role. And I sit there and I look at all these things that I could have done to have, like you said, go to the next level. So, I was just, when you've talked about this and I've read about what you write and stuff and and my friends are going, what is she talking about? I guess we have to do some research and find out the root of why you say and why you know what you talk about.
My God.
The exploitation and that type of power. And I now have a total understanding of where you're coming from.
Well, because you stopped yourself. It wasn't that important for you to get your part on that show, so you didn't do it. Yeah, no, you didn't do it. Yeah.
And it's the same way with doing this character. I've never played the drag queen role where I go to the bars and sit there and lip sync and shit like that. No, I have a 9-piece orchestra and I do the Comedy Store on the Sunset Strip. I do big shit, but I won't allow myself to do the other. And people say, well, if you did it the other way, you would have been like as big as RuPaul. And I go, well, I don't want to be RuPaul.
No. RuPaul? No, trust me. No, that's
how I know.
Yeah, I mean, come on. They make deals. When this really sunk, as a kid, I was familiar with this from businessmen, okay? So from businessmen in my neighborhood as a little kid, I saw nuances of this, all right? Just nuances. But where I really learned it from was from all the street kids that used to work, the kids that were 14 and 15. And I tell a story. I think I was 12 or 13. I was in downtown Toronto, and it was John Travolta and Lee Remick, if you remember Lee Remick.
Oh, of course. Roman. Hello.
Yeah.
His blue eyes.
I know, right? So Lee Remick, I don't know who was filming what, but it was filming on the streets of Toronto. So I was little, so in the late 70s, whatever. And my friend who was 15 was a guy, and he was kind of a kid that was on the move, and he was, a hustler kind of kid, whatever he thought he was. Anyway, that's when I learned about John Travolta, because John Travolta tried to get with this kid back then. I mean, and I was like, what do you say? Like, I was a little bit stupid. I'm like, he wants to do what? What? And so I first kept my eye on that part of it. And then I learned from Toronto's very satanic. I'll just say it. It really is. It really is. It gives off the vibe of New England when they killed all the witches, okay, and hung whatever the hell they did. Salem, the witch trials. It gives off that kind of vibe. And there's a lot of things that went on, but it really wasn't until I had a very good friend in California. She's a lot older than me. And she married a Canadian, well, I won't even say it in case I out her, but she married a billionaire. Okay.
Right.
And she told me what he did to keep that status in other countries. And I was like, at first, this is probably 15 years ago. Okay. So I was like, are you sure? And she goes, well, I don't see it, but we fly there. And this is what he does with a witch doctor and with kids, etc. About every 3 years. And then she told me about Bill Cosby back then. I thought she was crazy, quite frankly. I'm like, I would go home and I would tell John, oh my God, you should see what so-and-so said. Crazy, dead, accurate, right. Every time something pops up, I'm like, that bitch. She
I know.
Yeah.
She got it right.
She got it right. But it was about 5, maybe 7 years ago. I was at a particular venue, a private venue. And while I was in the venue, I can't even go tell you what kind of venue, but I was in the venue. The walls opened up to me. And I remember texting home, oh my God, I'm actually in the middle of this. Okay. I remember texting and I said, what the hell do? I can't walk out of this. So I was being introduced. I've been invited in, but not invited in. So I was like, what I tell people to do if you want to block them from telepathically reading your mind, I start doing a grocery list in my head. So I'm like, okay, 3 oranges, let's get some chicken. No, you want brown eggs, you want organic food. So I go over my head like that, and that blocks your thoughts. Okay, so that's actually what I do now when I'm around it. But you can really feel, I know you felt evil. You and I both worked with an evil person. Do you remember our person? Do you remember we met that person at the restaurant? One of them? Not to say who, but anyway, that person gave off a very bad vibe. Turns out that's accurate.
It sure was. No, I have seen evil. I have felt evil, you know, and I guess because, you know, I've always been told I have a little bit of a
look at
intuitiveness about things, but I have walked past a person or come face to face with a person walking down the street, and I feel evil. I mean, just evil.
Yeah.
Mean evil, scary evil, that I just close my eyes and go protect myself and just walk past that person. And you just know, and I've been in many precarious situations in my long life that I've done, you know, I've experienced being around evil and things like that.
Definitely.
Yeah. So, okay. Now, I hope you all are enjoying this. This is a black. I said when Sloan was coming on, I had no idea where we were going to go, what we were going to talk about.
Either.
You'd learn a little bit about both of us. And for those of you that don't know who the hell I am, thank you. My God, we have 451 people. That's
so fun, Esther. They're going to love you. Tell them about when you did the Oscars. Remember?
Oh, when I did the Oscars. If you look around on my YouTube page that some of Sloan's friends are on, you know, look at some of the videos. There's some wacky shit, but and don't forget to subscribe. I love you guys. But anyway, back to subscribe. But there's so many people. Sharon, you know who you met here in my building?
Yes, I was talking about her last night.
I told her, and she and her husband flew to LA today to San Francisco for a quick little vacation. And she just wrote, hi, you two.
Hi, Sharon. Oh my God. Yes, we spent the day with Sharon. Yes.
She's like you, lots of rhinestones and glitter and fabulousness.
She's fabulous. She's darling, super cute.
Okay. Now, I've had a couple of because this is Pride Month and everything. It's a very big thing. Now, but I actually had a couple of people ask me, they said, you need to ask Sloan, if you pick up certain vibes. And two of the people, somebody asked me was, if you ever do a show in the future, or you even feel, I don't know, can you all of a sudden just turn it on, or do you have to go sit in a room to pick up somebody's vibes? Because
I think we all know I'm too lazy to plan for anything. I barely got dressed right now.
But you look fabulous.
Yeah, well, this was dressed. If you saw my pants, you'd be surprised. But anyway.
Heavy stuff. But to some very important folks of mine that in Washington, D.C., they go, you need to ask Sloan about Harvey Milk and Matthew Shepard.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God. You know what?
and they said that what they wanted to know, they go, what would they think of how far the world has come since Harvey?
Oh my God. Okay, Matthew Shepard is one that actually, I don't know what happened. I think I watched his mother talking a couple of months ago, random. I saw a YouTube thing with his little
Right.
mother.
I love
Yeah, talking about him. And this is in the 80s, right?
Mhm.
Well, it's that poor boy. That is a very interesting thing. And okay, I believe there were 2 boys or 2 teenagers that attacked him, right?
Right.
And actually murdered him. I mean, is there
Right,
any reason to murder anybody, really? I mean, whether they're
They're still in jail.
yeah, and they should be. One of them in particular, okay, one of them, I can see him in my head, but I don't know which one it is because I didn't really follow the case.
Right.
One of them was actually in a family that encouraged this and sent him out to do this. Okay, so in Matthew Shepard's case, I'm going to word it this way because it came through very clear at the time that I saw this. I'm going to say 2 months ago. Matthew Shepard was a mirror to society, okay, of their own, I guess, evil or bad thinking. He had agreed on a soul level, and I don't know how this is agreed, and I'm pissed off that anybody agrees to this, but hey, it's not my agreement when I come in.
Right.
But he had agreed because he showed me that he allowed himself as a person against his instinct to go with them. He knew better, actually. Something told him, but he was a mirror. So the energy I picked up was that he was very happy that people recognized that what was done to him was wrong, because that was an elevation of seeing all people. I mean, we're still behind the scenes, but all people as people. You know, that's what it was. So he was a mirror for our misdeeds. So he's one of those, what I call them now is a heightened empath who allows themselves to walk into danger, okay, in order to be a mirror for the person's wrongdoing. That's an elevated soul purpose. So with him, I got that random. It's weird you asked me that because I never watched anything about him other than when it happened, okay? There, see, that's so cute from Australia, whoever that is, Lisa. But he was an empathic teacher of sorts. And of course, his family, once he's murdered, is not going to know that, nor are they going to care. Why would
he
the mother
changed
care?
the world. He changed a lot with the world.
It absolutely did. But I'm hearing that he walked into it knowing that this was like, you get in a car and you know somebody's going to like mess your head up in the car, you know, do something.
No, right.
He knew that instinctually, but his was of a teacher. So his soul was not wasted, nor was his life, because he was a teacher. And that's a weird thing to say. Now, Harvey Milk, it's interesting. He's totally different different energy. He's oh my God, his energy shift, change. Okay. He still is contributing to the gay community from behind the scenes. So he will pick people and put thoughts in their head to keep going forward. He hasn't stopped. He's a character. That's how I mean, I think I met the guy on your show that directed the movie.
Oh, Dustin Lance Black. My buddy Lance.
Yes, I think I did meet him.
You know, he wrote it. He wrote
it.
The Oscar for it.
Yes, he wrote it. I did meet him. He was a sweet kid backstage. Yeah. He was telling me, the only thing I remember is he's like, yeah, we couldn't drink Coca-Cola as a kid. I'm like, what? What are you saying to me?
he was a Mormon from Utah.
Yes, he was saying that. And I'm like, why? The parents let the kids smoke crack now. What's the problem with the soda?
And then he married Tom Daly, you know, the famous Olympic swimmer.
I didn't even know that he got married because I didn't follow.
You know Tom Daly?
Yes.
And they have a child. They have a little boy.
Had no idea. Yeah, I met him. He was young when I met him, when that was like, he was
right. And it was secret. I knew that he was dating Tom, but they kept it secret because of Hollywood. And they didn't want anybody to know, but they're very private. They leave a total, I mean, no one sees their son's face. They only see the back of his head. They never put it.
That's so good. Yeah, no, that's good. Because, you know, they'll try to extort from that too.
Of course.
Or extort energy. But with that energy, that's entirely different energy than Matthew. They're two different things. So sometimes people, when they cross over, continue to work on the other side in every field, not just that community or this community or that. There's people to move the human race forward in different directions. That happens quite a bit in medical, you know, intellectual, whatever you want to call it, in our society. Men, women, everybody in between, pets, all of this. And then sometimes people just get in the middle of stuff. Neither one of those men was in the middle of anything. It was purposeful on both parts.
Right. Wow.
Yeah.
This has been so much fun.
I know. I'm glad to see
we
you.
should do this. We should do this more often.
Absolutely. I say you invite me, I will.
You are invited. I'm making all these new friends, and there's so many wonderful comments. You know?
My God, the people that I meet on YouTube are the nicest, minus a few trolls, but we like to mess with trolls anyway.
I watched you yesterday. I love watching you troll the trolls.
Yeah, I'm a stalker.
That's it. It should be a reality series. Sloan Bella's Troll the Trolls.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you know what that is? I'll tell you what that is. Besides the fact I have a big mouth and I can never shut up, but your camera's backwards. I keep going to flip my hair and it's backwards when I look. I mean, the thing is, anyway, when somebody says something to you you don't like for example, if you're in your career as an entertainer and somebody says you're not going to make it unless, okay, let's say that you've heard that, I've heard that, we've all heard that. Here's what you say back. I don't believe that. I'm going to make it because. So it's an intention with words. So you put it back on them so you don't take it with you because they're throwing their words at you to do something, to alter your essence. No,
You know, I had thought about coming back to LA, and but I found out it's a 40-minute thing, and I was thinking about it. But then again, Caesars knocked out 15 showrooms, so there's no more small shows. But the fact that I live in this beautiful home here, I could never afford that there. But I found out that, you know, I don't have to be there full time. I can be in both places, go back and forth. And I thought about it. You and I had chit-chatted before, and I said,
yes.
I'm going to stay here, but it's so easy to hop on JSX and for $99, semi-private jet and fly into Burbank or LAX.
Oh yeah, Burbank preferably because it's not as jammed. Yeah.
But you know, my agents were all let go during the pandemic. But what I'm doing now is I'm revamping everything. It's sort of like I feel like the pandemic gave us a reset in a way.
It did. It did, but not the way they're talking about it. But yes, it did.
Of course. And it's like with what happened to me is that I lost a year and a half, 2 years because of the lawsuit when these assholes tried to steal my persona and my character. And so what happened was the pandemic came, so nobody was working. So it all happened.
They got screwed too.
Oh, they got screwed big time.
But hold on, sorry, I don't mean to interrupt. I want to say this to you. When you're asking me about what you mean about selling a soul or whatever, when they write those contracts that none of us read, because you and I don't read them. I mean, blah, blah, blah. When they word things the way that they worded it with Prince, when they word that they own your name and likeness into perpetuity, that is a selling. What does that mean, into perpetuity? Because you and I are going to die at least when we get to be 90 or something, right?
Right.
So what does that mean? They're harnessing your energy. Bullshit.
Well, see, I have the Paul Lynde estate. I have rights in perpetuity, which was not because they sold me or whatever. But these guys that tried to steal my person, they basically wanted to shake me down for $125,000 to pay back Esther. But they didn't have perpetuity. They screwed it up, and it was a long story. We'll get into it another time.
Which is so great, but they didn't get it right.
They didn't get it. I ended up having one of the most powerful litigation firms in Manhattan that represented me pro bono. They handle Keith Richards, Ricky Martin Scorsese. They handle the big things. Yeah. They represented me pro bono and scared the shit out of these assholes that they dismissed.
And they should have. They should have. Who does this?
But anyway, I'm just as a favor, I'm on the right track. Do you feel like I'm on the right track?
I know you're on the right track. As a favor, shut up. No, of course you're on the right track. What are you talking about?
No, because it's just, it's like one of those crazy things. It's just,
you've got nothing but money around you. Because I forget your moon sign. Was it Scorpio?
I'm a Virgo with a Leo rising and a moon in Scorpio and something circling Uranus. I don't know what the hell it is.
Yeah, no, Scorpio moon and the Leo rising. No, I get that. And the Virgo part, but all of those things are activated for money in the coming year. You have to do it in a different way. And that's what I was saying with YouTube. Do it in a different way than you think.
My friends, I was talking to Frank Hagen, who was one of the producers with us.
Yeah.
Frank is great. And we were talking, and I said, Sloan and I were talking, and Sloan said this, and he goes, well, do it. And I said, well, I am. And everybody, this woman is so kind and so generous. And it's because of her that we're here together today. And I'm doing my YouTube channel because I had let it go for 2 years. And I thank you from the bottom of my heart so much.
Oh my God. No, you should have been. I knew you got the talent, and I saw your closet with all your wigs. I'm like, those should not be in the closet. That should not be in the closet.
I never was, thank God, in the closet.
Yeah, I know, but the wigs shouldn't be either. The wigs should be out on Esther.
Well, you know, what's happening is one of the other things that's happening is they want to bring the Paul Lynde show back. People
That's
are
why I
approaching.
said yes, do that.
So I'm like, because Billy Eckert or whatever the hell his name is, they had this big thing that he's doing the new Paul Lynde movie. And of course, nobody bothered to say, hey, do you know who has the rights? And they haven't bothered to hit me up, but it's just a pitch. I don't think his movie's going to come out and do anything. And if it does, it'll only help me do better. Listen,
you should bring it back. You're going to do it in the Red Hotel, right?
Well, I don't. Well, I'm going tomorrow night as a VIP.
Good.
Which is, okay, you're going to laugh. This is karma. Karma is real, people.
Right.
It's real. So 2 years ago, when I got fired from the show I wrote and produced and created, they fired me from my own show.
That's typical of these bitches. Yes.
So what happened, Sloan, was a month later, they had the official opening of the SLS Sahara. It became the Sahara.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I was not invited. The only people who were invited were the people that stabbed me in the back and took advantage of me and tried to screw me because they thought they was going to win. So I didn't get to go. And everybody was like, wow, what an unbelievable. It's not coming to the opening. Well, here we are 2 years later, the biggest hotel casino ever opening in Las Vegas. None of them are on the list. Guess who's on the VIP guest list?
That's right. What are you going to wear? Wait, is Esther going or is Michael going?
No, Michael's going, but
Okay.
Michael's wearing red because they want you to wear a nice cocktail red attire. I was going to go because I met with the PR people and they're going to try to work some things so I can get like Celine and Katy Perry and Luke Bryan and Carrie, get some of the celebrities that are going to be performing there with the residency. So, you know, I'm just trying to reboot the old broad back to,
totally.
back to what I normally do. Sloan, you're a sweetheart. Thank you so much.
I'm so glad I got to talk to you. And besides, I talked to you anyway, but like this, now I learned more about you. Now that I know you got Bay City Roller information.
Is that too crazy?
That's crazy. I love them.
Bet went to Bet helped get rid of the ghost in some of the de-exercised their castles. She did past life regression and everything with them.
Oh my God. Yeah, that's something. That is something when you actually get somebody who knows how to do that, not some person who doesn't. But yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, I know she's around me all the time. Bet's around me. My friend Allie's around me. My mother's around me.
I knew Allie, remember?
Yeah. Allie, remember she passed away unexpectedly. Boom.
I know, she was only like 50, huh?
Not even that. She was in her 40s.
You know what I'm going to say? Do you wonder, because it struck me like, what year did she pass in? 2018?
Yeah, it was right. Yeah, it was right.
Okay.
It was before this. Yeah.
Are you thinking maybe because remember what it was? She had trouble breathing.
Right.
Heart.
Right.
COVID. What if it was that?
It could have been.
I mean, an early thing because it was so weird. She went in and then didn't she lose her respiratory?
Yeah.
Remember?
She just lost. She couldn't breathe anymore, and she just died that morning.
Well, I'm wondering if that might have been. I thought about that actually now because we didn't know it then.
We'll have to do another show about vaccines.
Yeah, we will. And I'm going to go against that, but you're entitled to do what you want to do.
And folks, let me tell you something. In a world that's split back and forth, if you can learn to love your friends and respect their opinions and your opinions, you can get along great. You know, she doesn't believe in vaccines. I believe in vaccines.
Well,
but
tell them what happened to you. Tell them what happened. What happened to you?
But how I got sick. Before they even had a vaccine.
Yes.
Do you have to be anywhere? We've already been on an hour. It doesn't even feel like it.
Don't tell them. I want you to tell them because it's interesting because you saw the light.
Oh.
Hello.
Okay. This is what happened. So I live in a high rise, a 41-story high rise here on the Las Vegas Strip. I live on the 30th floor. And on my floor, there was this girl and her father, and she, crazy bitch. The father had COVID and she had it too, but she didn't tell anybody. And we were all having to wear the mask, you know, because when you live in a building like this, it's just a big freaking test tube. It's what it is. So things stay here. So there was also another man who lived 2 doors down from me. Well, what happened was he got COVID. They had COVID, but I was taking care of myself, but nobody told the girl who had COVID, didn't tell anybody. So she was touching the trash compactors and shit like that. So I got COVID last November from her. They moved. They no longer live in the building. The other man
get murdered. Yeah.
Yeah, and the other man died 2 doors down from me, and then I had it, and everybody was freaking out in the building because they said, "Not Michael, please, not Michael, please, no, he can't be." And I started off as bronchitis, and it became pneumonia, and the ambulance came here 3 times to help me breathe, but it affected me so badly. But the 3rd time that I got it is the one that is where I almost died. Was my friend Gwen and a bunch of my friends did not see me on Facebook, and they were like, "Oh my gosh, where's Michael? Oh my God." So they called the front desk, and then they called to do a welfare check. And during COVID, because I live alone with me and my dog, I kept my door unlocked in case there was an emergency and people could get in. So cops came and they knocked on the door and they opened up the door, and I was like semi-conscious laying in the foyer of my place, and they called the ambulance. The ambulance showed up. They were hooking me up with EKG shit and oxygen, and they put me on the gurney, took me down 30 floors. And as we're going into the lobby, I started to like lose it. And in the back of the ambulance, I died. My heart stopped. All I remember is seeing the light, this bright white light. And I felt like I was getting closer and closer and closer to the light. And then all of a sudden it was like, whoosh.
They brought you back.
I came back. But I was happy. I was peaceful with the light. But all of a sudden I was like getting jerked back. And of course, the funny part is it was this gorgeous paramedic. I was pissing myself. I thought, oh my God, this is heaven. Anyway, they brought me back and they go, "Mr. Arrington, you're going to be okay. You're going to be okay." And, so, I mean, I had the antibodies naturally. And for me, I went ahead and got the Johnson, because who doesn't want a Johnson?
Exactly. I want a different one than you, but yeah.
But anyway, so
I'm looking for a different one. Okay.
I know. Well, that's what I said. I was all looking for the Johnson.
Exactly. But you know what? I don't have a problem with anybody that does whatever you want. I have a problem with them telling me what to do.
And I understand that.
Yeah, that's my only problem.
I just worry about this new fucking variant that's coming up. Then all of a sudden, this variant coming over from India.
They say that. They do say that there's one, but my friends in India say they don't know what but it's
Sharon,
part of India.
Okay,
Sharon goes to India, yeah.
Well, Sharon's husband just got back from Chennai. He lost a couple of his employees. He said it was really bad, very bad.
Shit.
Because he's an American citizen as well, his dual citizenship, he was able to get back into here, but he said it was really bad over there. But you have to remember, 3 billion people live in that country.
Totally.
It's like bigger than China.
Yeah,
So,
it's a huge country, and they live differently too. It's not necessarily clean. Meaning it's more rural in a lot of areas. I'll word it that way. Yeah, it's interesting. I don't think we're going to have a problem with it if we're healthy, and you already had it, so you're not going to have a problem.
That's what they said. What they're saying is like Bill Maher. You ever watch Bill Maher?
Sometimes,
they closed his show down because he was tested positive, but he didn't have any of the symptoms because he had the vaccine and he was asymptomatic. But what they're saying is if you've had the vaccine, the chances are that if you get a form of COVID, the symptoms won't be as severe, and
which is good.
As you know, I'm pretty healthy. I work out every day. I do cardio, whatever.
Super healthy. You eat well, you work out well, you look good.
So
you send me the tanning picture by the pool.
I know, right? I love your friends. Rumors and lies. I
know. Well, we're the well, I do think the illness, I'll call it an illness, but I'm pretty sure it was manufactured. So I don't really know what it is or how it affects people. I don't think it's an illness like, whatever. I don't think it's a traditional illness. I do think it was concocted in a lab. So
in Wuhan, I believe it is too. I believe.
I believe there's something. I just don't like what they're doing with that, considering there's so many other somethings out there that people can get too as well. Yeah. So why this something and not that something?
Okay, girl. This has been too much fun.
I know. I'm glad to talk to you, Esther. Thank you.
I'm going to put all your info. When this goes to video and it goes over to YouTube, I'll reload it as another video, and I'll put all your information on how to find you on your
Find me at Starbucks.
That's it. Send your Starbucks coupons.
Yes, find me at Starbucks.
We love us some Sloan. Thank you so much for
I'm
coming
so
in.
glad to see you.
And we can boogie.
That's it. Yeah, are we going?
Yeah, we're getting ready to go out. I'm getting ready to hand the broadcast. Everybody, all of Sloan's friends.
Peace out, y'all.
500 are listening to us right now.
That's so great. And they're meeting you, which is awesome because you're super fucking funny. Pardon my language. Sorry. Swearing.
It's okay. I swear all the time. I was a sailor in another life. I know.
I know too.
Okay, Sloan, I love you.
Your life. Bye.
You're coming back.
I'm coming back. Bye.